Hello world, it's Birdo Prey 5, Qapla, and welcome to my review of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 1, Episode 5, Spock Amok. And this pulls off the Amok Time second season TOS episode, where, of course, Kirk and Spock engage in mortal combat over that bitch to bring Spock's girlfriend, or depending on what you believe, fiance. And in that episode, she chooses Kirk to fight against Spock in a battle to the death. Okay? T'Pring is a bitch incarnate, evil, if logical, but evil person. She could be logical, but she's evil to have a man fight his best friend to the death. To the death. This woman needs no repentance. She doesn't need anyone to make her into a better character. She had her chance in TOS, and she is not worthy of being saved. She is evil. Evil as fuck. Okay? I'm sorry. She is evil as F, and you do not want to... I don't know why anybody feels the need that they need to protect her. They need to do right by her. No. She's terrible. She's a terrible person. Spock got lucky by not marrying her. It was the best day of his life. Anyway, here's the okay. You can say the dog, maybe they saved the dog. You can say maybe the Gorn existed and Captain Kirk didn't know who the Gorn was, but Uhura did, but didn't say anything. And you could say you can make all types of excuses for all the episodes up to this point. Up to this point. I want to see the excuse, and you know who I'm talking about. I want to see the excuses made by the people who love this show. And if you love this show still, by all means, good for you. But I'm honestly deeply curious. How? They're 3 minutes in, and they're playing that music. Da 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 da. It's Spock's dream. This is Spock's dream, and they're playing the music. And in Spock's dream, he's fighting himself. His human half is fighting his Vulcan half. Even though we're told that this combat hasn't been asked for in centuries or millennia, I don't know. I kind of remember in Amok Time something about the choice of Caliphate being like a 1 in 1,000 somethings. It's never happened. It hasn't happened in a long time. Yet Spock is dreaming of it. It is so burdensome on Spock that T'Pring might not accept him, that it's already affecting his dreams 10, 15 years before they get married. So after an encounter with the Gorn, again, and it's officially considered an encounter with the Gorn, so Spock knows it's Gorn. The Enterprise is back at space dock because the ship needs to be fixed again. So everybody's out on shore leave again, which they were out on shore leave just before. So Spock is saying, because of shore leave, he's got to help Pike with something, but because of the way he left T'Pring last time, T'Pring is coming back, and so he's looking forward to having time with T'Pring. The main issue here, and I'm not going to go through every single detail because who the fuck cares? I don't care that Una and Leon and Number One are going to play Enterprise Bingo this episode. I don't care that Dr. Mbenga is going to go fly fishing when he has his own daughter in the very secretive sick bay transporter, that his daughter is literally in the transporter buffer, that if some schmuck comes into sick bay and accidentally turns off the transporter, his daughter dies. His daughter is removed from history. His daughter just ceases to exist. And yet he is happy enough to go down to some planet to go fly fishing because it's like he doesn't have a fuck to give in the world. His daughter is living on borrowed time, but he's going to go down and fish rather than try to find a cure for whatever's killing her. Fine. Whatever. I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to worry about Dr. Mbenga. I'm not going to worry about why the fuck Nurse Chapel and Ortegas also like to go fishing. And Nurse Chapel is going out on random dates. That goes fine. Fine. Whatever. I take it she's not trying to find her husband anymore at this point. So all that stuff doesn't really bother me. What bothers me is this. Spock and T'Pring spend the whole fucking episode together, but not as themselves because they decide they're having relationship issues. So Spock says, let's do this Klingon. Let's do this Vulcan ritual. It's like a mind meld, but it's not a mind meld. Instead of going into one's mind, it's the two people actually switch bodies. They physically switch bodies for a short time. This way, Spock can figure out what it's like to live as T'Pring, and T'Pring can see what it's like to live as Spock. But it's only supposed to take a few seconds. However, apparently, it didn't go well because they get stuck in each other's bodies. Spock gets stuck in T'Pring's, and T'Pring gets stuck in Spock's body. And of course, just as soon as they get stuck in each other's bodies, Captain Pike comes down and is like, hey, Spock, I need you immediately. Immediately, we need you right this second. Because these alien races that you were in diplomatic talks with, they will only talk to you. And so, to their credit, Spock and T'Pring in each other's bodies tell Pike, hey Pike, we switched bodies due to a Vulcan ritual, and we don't know how to switch back. Pike, ridiculous, decides he's still going to take Spock's body, which has T'Pring in it, because they need her now to survive. They need her to negotiate with these aliens who are ready to negotiate with the Klingons and or the Romulans. They've made new aliens. The aliens came early though. So that's why Spock and everything got pulled forward. So we get to learn about the Vulcan Qapla earlier than Star Trek 3, which is when we should have first heard the Qapla, but fine. You're like, well, maybe they can explain this later, because I knew I knew what this meant. The moment they said Katra, they said Katra early in the episode. And I was like, no, there's no way. There's no way they can do what, and I knew what they were going to do. I knew what they were going to do. And I was saying to myself, no, this isn't possible. So many things could be excused, but how could we excuse learning about their Katra at this point? More so, how could we learn? How could we give them what they're about to do to us? And I knew what was going to happen, and it's exactly what happened. In Star Trek 3, the movie that takes place between 2 and 4, the two of the best movies ever created, okay? One of the best, if not the best, discussions that Sarek has with Captain Kirk is about Spock's Katra. Sarek comes to Kirk's quarters at the beginning of Star Trek 3, and he says, please, I need to mind meld with you. He's like, he would have asked you to take his Katra back to Vulcan. And Kirk is like, son, Sarek, I promise you, your son made no such request. He says, of course he didn't. He didn't say it out loud. It would be his Katra. And Kirk's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. He's like, please, he asked, I need to mind meld with you. So Kirk allows the mind meld. And Sarek is so saddened when he realizes there's no Katra to be found in Kirk's mind. And Kirk says, he realizes, he's like, we were separated by glass. And now Sarek, for the first time, realizing that his son's immortal soul is lost. And that's when Kirk realizes he would have found a way. And he even gets Sarek excited. He's like, yes, he would have found a way. And so when they look back, at the records of the Enterprise engine room, they see that Spock mind melded with McCoy right before he went into that engine room and gave his life for the ship and his crew members, his friends. He gave his life for his ship and his friends and his crew. And he just says, remember. He gives that remember to McCoy. And now McCoy is suffering from having Spock's Katra in his body. He's on his way to the Federation Funny Farm. Until Kirk offers his life now in return to try to save Spock one last time. He owes it to Spock. Anyway, when they get Spock's body back to Vulcan, T'Pau says infamous words, something along the lines to Sarek. It's like, Sarek, what is it you want us to do? And he's like, I want you to put the Katra back in my son's body. And she's like, Sarek, what you ask comes from stories eons ago. And even then, only in lore. they're not even sure they're factual stories. These could have just been fiction. And Sarek says, forgive me. My logic is not so clear when it comes into matters of my son. I mean, for a great Vulcan philosopher as Sarek to make that admission, it's crazy. It is definitely one of the most powerful lines in all of Star Trek. In all of Shrek. This is the highest, most beloved Trek you could imagine. For somebody like me to mess with a Vulcan Qapla, to change the history of Star Trek 3 and 4, there is no bigger breach of trust you could do than try and edit the history of Spock and his Qapla and all those sorts of things. Okay, it would be as if somebody put their hands out, pulled out the script from under a pale moonlight, or the troubles or tribbles or trials and tribulations, and put them all in a garbage can and threw in a match and watched them burn. And watched them burn and laughed at the burning, destroying forever something unique, something lovely, something that was loved. There's no excuse I can give for the writers to destroy everything we loved about Amok time. I don't see how anybody can be okay with this. And it honestly, it makes me sick just talking about it. With that, I gotta go. I can't watch this. Thankfully, the Orville has returned. And I'm going to watch that soon. Probably sooner than later. Because it's making me sick. Literally sick. And I can't do it anymore. Maybe next week I can. Maybe next week I can do a review. But that's it. That's it for this week. Qapla all, bird out.